This is Fitness Blender's beginner kettlebell workout. This workout consists of a 3-minute warm-up followed by a 30-minute kettlebell routine of 3 rounds of 8 different exercises. Let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up cardio. Our first exercise is jogging in place. We're going to be doing this for 1 minute. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Just a nice quick pace. Don't worry about really killing yourself here. You're just trying to slowly bring that heart rate up. If you want to switch it out with jumping jacks or some other kind of cardio, that's perfectly fine. Alright, we're almost done. And let it relax. Let's move on to the next one, the slow butt kickers and arm swings. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Just nice and slow, rocking back and forth, bring that heel up as close to your butt as is comfortable, then swinging those arms in front of that chest and then back behind you, making sure you alternate which hand is on top each time. Just make sure you keep that motion nice and slow under control, just trying to open up that range of motion just a little bit more. And almost done. And let it relax. Alright, moving on to the next one, jogging in place with arm swings. It's just a nice light jog. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Now just keep those feet moving nice and quick. Slowly moving those arms around in a nice big circle from front of your body to behind your body and then back again. You want to alternate directions and you want to alternate which arm you're using. Just keep it going back and forth, making sure you're switching those directions. Alright, got about 5 seconds left. Those legs and shoulders should be nice and warmed up. And go ahead and let it relax. Next up, we've got our first round of the kettlebell routine. Our first exercise is the around the world. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Standing nice and straight and tall with those feet just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. You're just going to swing a nice big circle around your body with that kettlebell. Just work on transitioning that weight from hand to hand, going from one edge of the handle to the other edge of the handle. Make sure you're not actually swinging it from the middle back and forth. You want to make sure you're going from side to side. Now, if you've never used kettlebells before, make sure you start with a really nice light weight. You don't have to necessarily move this fast. You just want to kind of get comfortable with it first. Alright, we're going to be switching directions here in just a second. Just slow that kettlebell down, swap directions, start getting it going the opposite way. It's going to feel really awkward at first because you've been going the opposite direction for so long. Just kind of take your time, get used to it. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is a kettlebell figure 8. You're going to be bending over for this one, going in between those legs, so get those legs a little bit wider apart. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Squat down and grab that kettlebell. You're going to swing it around and behind your leg, bring it back through those legs, kicking it off to that other hand, then swing it around the opposite leg, bring it back around to the original hand. It's going to take a little while to get used to this motion. Just do it nice and slow at first, and then you can start speeding up as you become more comfortable with it. The main thing you want to really focus on in this is your transition from hand to hand. You actually want to kind of throw that kettlebell from hand to hand with those fingers facing straight back towards each other. You don't want to actually transfer it from one edge of the handle to the other. You actually want to throw it the middle of the handle from hand to hand. We're going to go ahead and switch directions, so you can go that opposite direction. The motion is identical, you're just moving that kettlebell in the opposite direction, so you're going from behind your leg, swing it in front, and then bring it through your legs, transitioning behind you as opposed to transitioning, throwing the kettlebell forward between your legs. And we're almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is the two-handed swing. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Go ahead and grab that kettlebell with both hands, palms facing back behind you. Nice and slow, come up with a squat motion, throwing that kettlebell up to about shoulder height, no higher, and then nice and slow back down into that squat as that kettlebell drops back down. You actually want to kind of drive this motion with your legs, and then use just a little bit of shoulder to get that kettlebell up just that last little bit. Then nice and slow, let it come back down, using those shoulders to actually decelerate that kettlebell as you drop into that squat, and then throwing it right back up. The main thing you want to focus on this is making sure that back stays perfectly flat. Never let that back round out. And there's a last one right there. Go ahead and let that one relax. Next one is a kettlebell clean. You're going to be doing this with one hand only. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. This is a nice quick motion. The first thing you need to make sure is you're keeping that back perfectly flat the entire time. You're going to drive those legs up, building momentum into that kettlebell so you can swing it up to that shoulder, rotating that hand as it comes up, using that bicep and shoulder just a little bit to roll it just on the outside of that forearm, and then nice and slow, drop it right back down. Every single time you come up, you want that kettlebell to kind of sit in between your forearm and your bicep and just rest for a second before you drop it back. And there's your last one right there. Go ahead and let it relax. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other hand. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. So that same quick drive motion with those legs, kicking that kettlebell up to the outside of that shoulder, rolling that fist just a little bit so that kettlebell comes between that forearm and that bicep, rests in between that little V right there for just a second, and then roll it right back down, right between those legs, and then drive it right back up with those legs. Almost done, just one more. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is the kettlebell halos. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Holding on to the outside of that handle, you're going to nice and slow bring it up across your left shoulder, back behind that head, down across that right shoulder, then pause in front of your body, and then reverse that direction. Up across that right, behind your head, down across that left, pause in front of your body. Just keep alternating it back and forth, trying to keep those elbows in towards your head as close as is comfortable, making sure those elbows don't splay out to your sides, make sure that circle doesn't get too big, and just keep that motion under control at a nice even pace. We're almost done. Just one more back around, and let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one, the straight leg deadlifts. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. This is done with a perfectly flat back and keeping those legs nice and straight the entire time. Just going to tip straight forward, get that kettlebell just a few inches off the ground, and then come straight back up to a full extension. Get a nice straight line from your shoulder all the way down to your ankle, and then bend at that hip socket, tip straight forward again, and right back up. You're just letting that kettlebell just hang dead. Almost done, just a couple more repetitions. And here's your last one right here. And let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is a squat curl. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Squat down nice and low, curling that kettlebell up to your chest at the bottom. Nice and slow, stand back up. At the very top of that range of motion, drop that kettlebell back down and then start your squat again. It's a nice, slow, controlled motion with a nice deep squat and a tight curl at the bottom. This is your last one right here. And let it relax. All right, our next exercise is the bent over row. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Nice and slow, draw that kettlebell up and out to the side with a perfectly flat back, trying to get that upper body as parallel to the ground as you possibly can. So lean forward from those hips as much as you possibly can. Nice flat back, then draw that elbow up and out to the side. Almost done, just 2 more repetitions. And there you go. Go ahead and let it relax. We're going to switch sides. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Remember, bend over at those hips. Try to keep that back as flat as you possibly can. Try to keep that chest as perpendicular to the ground as you can, as even with the ground. Then nice and slow, pull that elbow up and out to the side, trying to keep that forearm directly down underneath that elbow. Almost done. Just 2 more repetitions. And there you go. Go ahead and let it relax. All right, that was the end of round number 1. Go ahead and pause it here if you need a little more rest. Let's go ahead and get started with round number 2. We're going to start back over with the around the world. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Go ahead and get that kettlebell going in a nice big circle around that body. Focus on trying to transfer that kettlebell from hand to hand, from one side of that kettlebell handle to the other. The key with this one is to make sure that you never actually let go of that kettlebell at any point. You always have at least one hand on it. And we're going to go ahead and switch directions, slow that kettlebell down, and then start pushing it back the opposite way. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one, the kettlebell figure 8. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. So nice and slow, you're going to swing that kettlebell back behind your leg, coming back forward through your legs, transitioning it into that other hand by kind of throwing it forward into that hand. So you're going from the same exact handle position from one hand into the next. So those fingers are actually facing towards each other. Just switch it back and forth as quickly as you can, as comfortable as possible. Almost done. We're going to switch directions here in just a second. And go ahead and switch that direction, swinging it back the opposite direction, going through those legs towards the back, then swing it around in front of your leg before cooking it back between those legs. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's move to the next one, the two-handed swing. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Squat down and grab that kettlebell. Drive that kettlebell up with a squat motion. So as you come up from that squat, you want to build that momentum into that kettlebell so it actually kind of swings itself up on its own, using those shoulders just a little bit to get that kettlebell just those last few inches higher. Just make sure you're keeping that back really nice and flat and driving most of this motion from those legs. Almost done. And there's your last one right there. Go ahead and let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one, the kettlebell cleans. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Grabbing that kettlebell, again driving this motion from those legs. You're going to twist that hand and just roll that kettlebell so it's back in between your forearm and your bicep, just kind of sitting there in that little V position. Then nice and slow, roll that wrist back around, dropping back down into that squat, then drive it right back up. Remember, most of this you want coming from those legs, just a little bit of extra shoulder motion to get that kettlebell to roll around onto that forearm and bicep. Almost done. We're going to switch sides, do the same thing on the opposite side. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Remember, driving that motion from those legs. Almost done. One more. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one, the kettlebell halos. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Remember, keeping those elbows really nice and close to your head. Moving that kettlebell over your right shoulder, around the back of your head, down over that left shoulder, and then reverse it. Almost done. Just one more back around. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one, the straight leg deadlifts. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Grab that kettlebell with both hands. Legs nice and straight, back perfectly flat, hinging only from that hip joint. Tip forward as far as you can, as far as it's comfortable, till that kettlebell almost touches the ground. and then come straight back up to a full extension so you'll have a nice straight line from your shoulder all the way down to your ankle, and then drop straight back forward. Almost done, just 2 more. Last one. And let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next one. This is the squat with a curl. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Nice deep squat with that kettlebell hanging between those legs. The very bottom of that range of motion, you're going to curl that kettlebell up to your chest, then stand up with it up to your chest, then nice and slow let that kettlebell drop back down before dropping back into your squat. And just one more. And let it relax. All right, let's move to the next one, the bent over row. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bending forward at the hips, one leg in front of you for a little bit of support. Get that back really nice and flat, as parallel to the ground as you can, then draw that elbow up and out to the side, get a nice tight squeeze on that back. Only 2 more. And here's your last one right here. And let it relax. All right, we're going to switch sides, do the same thing on the opposite side. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bend straight over from those hips. Nice flat back, trying to keep those shoulders straight across. Pulling that elbow up and out to the side, getting a nice tight squeeze on the back of that shoulder and upper back. Just 2 more. Here's your last one. And let it relax. All right, that was the end of round number 2. Go ahead and pause it here if you need a little extra rest. All right, let's go ahead and start back over with round number 3. Our first exercise, around the world. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Get that kettlebell going around that waist, nice big circle, as big as you can control. Just be careful with that transition behind your back. All right, we're almost done. We're going to switch directions. And go ahead and get that kettlebell moving in the opposite direction. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one, the kettlebell figure 8. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Get down a nice low squat, transferring that kettlebell back and forth between your hands. Make sure you're getting all the way around your leg, going from in front to behind, swinging that leg back from behind you through those legs. And we're going to switch directions and swing it back again. So this time that kettlebell is going from in front of your legs down through your legs, bringing it back around the outside of that leg. Almost done. Make sure you're staying low and let it relax. All right, let's move to the next one, the two-handed swing. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Grabbing that kettlebell with both hands, swing it down between those legs, get into a nice deep squat. Then using the momentum from those legs, coming up from that squat really nice and quick to shove that kettlebell up to that shoulder height. Remember using those shoulders just a little bit to get that kettlebell just a little bit higher. Almost done. Just a couple more repetitions. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one, the kettlebell cleans. Get ready. And begin. Remember using those legs again to drive that motion, using that momentum to actually pull that kettlebell up and out to the side of that arm, kind of resting it on that forearm and bicep at the very top of that range of motion before you roll that wrist, bringing that kettlebell back down. Just a couple more repetitions. It's your last one. And switch sides. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Same exact motion, driven from those legs, just doing it on that opposite arm. One more. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one, the kettlebell halos. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bring that kettlebell up across your left shoulder, back around the back side of your head, down over your right shoulder, pause in front of your chest, and then reverse that direction. Just keep that motion going back and forth. Almost done. Just one more in each direction. Back around and let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one, the straight leg deadlifts. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Nice and slow, bend over from those hips, keeping that back nice and flat, legs nice and straight, getting as low to the ground as you possibly can as it's comfortable, and then nice and slow, come straight back up. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next one, the squat with a curl. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Squatting down nice and low. Curl that kettlebell up to your chest. Then stand up. Let that kettlebell lower. And then drop right back down into that squat. Almost done. This is your last one right here. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the last one, the bent over rows. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bend over with those hips, one leg in front of you for support. Keep that back as flat as you can, as parallel to the ground. Then draw that elbow up and out to the side, getting a nice tight squeeze on that back of that shoulder and that upper back. Almost done. And go ahead and let it relax. Let's move to the other side. It's your last exercise. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Tip forward that hip socket, keeping that back nice and flat. Remember drawing that elbow up and out to the side, getting a really nice tight squeeze on the back side of that shoulder and that upper back. Almost done. Just one more. And let it relax. All right, good job. You just finished Fitness Blender's beginner kettlebell workout.